posted that deal is for the veteran minimum exception of $2.6 million. Kings guard De'Aaron Fox has agreed to a max extension worth at least $163 million over 5 years. His agent told Bobby Marks he was the number 5 overall pick out of Kentucky in 2017. Veteran sharpshooting forward Danilo Gallinari finalizing a 3-year, $61.5 million deal with the Atlanta Hawks. His agent of CAA Sports tells ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, and Steven Adams is headed to New Orleans as part of the Drew Holiday trade. Adams averaged almost 11 points and just over 9 rebounds last season for Oklahoma City. As for a few of the other deals that got done in the NBA, the Jazz reached agreements with both Jordan Clarkson and Derek Favors, who will be returning to Utah. Joe Harris is staying with the Nets after signing a 4-year, $75 million deal. And Mason Plumlee is headed to the Pistons. His deal, Randy, for 3 years and $25 million.
All right, El, thank you. Woj is with us all morning here on SportsCenter AM. And Woj, let's talk about this Montrezl Harrell deal. A surprise, even to Patrick Beverley, who tweeted, what? And then a couple of choice emojis here. So fun for his soon-to-be former teammate. How did this deal come together?
Well, after Dwight Howard surprised the Lakers, took that offer in Philadelphia, Montrezl Harrell needed a home. And the Lakers moved in, offered him their full mid-level exception. So now he'll go from being, playing that six-man role in with the Clippers to perhaps now the starting center for the Lakers.
That's one heck of a lineup they're building, continuing to build with the Lakers there. And one deal that El told us about is the Drew Holiday deal and how Steven Adams moves to the Pelicans as a part of that. What more can you tell us about behind the scenes with a move like this?
Well, you've seen now Oklahoma City has moved toward a full rebuild. They traded Chris Paul. Danilo Gallinari is reported is going to Atlanta. And now Steven Adams, one of the most popular players in Oklahoma City's, league history. He'll go now with a year left on his contract. The Thunder get something for him. They get a first-round pick via Denver as part of that larger deal, a couple second-round picks. And Steven Adams will anchor that back line for Stan Van Gundy in New Orleans with a lot of young players, few better influences, locker room, and a player who can still play at a very high level.
Talk about building a culture. He's a guy who can do that there for Stan Van Gundy. That's Adrian Wojnarowski with the very latest. He'll be with us all morning on NBA Free Agency.
I want to move on to the Sixers, guys, because they made trades to acquire Danny Green, Seth Curry on draft night. So, Brian, what is Philly's next move after what they have done to address their shooting concerns? Because they at least opened up some space on the floor here.
Yeah, and by trading Al Horford, they also opened up some room on their books. They were facing pretty significant luxury tax penalties, and the Al Horford trade gave them some airspace, and so they now can, dip their toes into free agency. But of course, that's not what you're asking about. What you're asking about is, are they going to trade for James Harden?
I'm asking about James Harden, friend. Yes.
These trades really don't help improve their asset base for Harden. It's not like the Rockets are like, oh, they have Danny Green. Oh, this is something we're interested in. Most people in the league believe that if they're going to get serious about James Harden, it's going to take putting Ben Simmons into the deal. Now, Daryl Morey has not made any indication at all that he is willing to do that, and he has been very clear as he's talked to the media about how valuable it is to have two young superstars in their prime. But if James Harden wants to go to Brooklyn, the way to trump any Brooklyn offer is to put in a player that Brooklyn can't match. And so that's what we're going to be paying attention to. It could be weeks, it could be months before something like this would happen.
Vince, would you do a deal if you were the Sixers, and would you do a deal that included Ben Simmons to get James Harden with Joel Embiid?
It's just a tough question. It's just what are you looking for? What do you want out of your team? And I think for Houston, first of all, let me say they're doing it right. If you're going to let somebody like this go, who's a stars of stars, you better make sure you're going to get something close. Now, if I'm the Sixers, if you could get James Harden, for sure, you're going to do it. And it's just who. I think James Harden in an Embiid would be something special. And then you just put shooters around them and just let these guys do what they do.
Yeah, I'm going to agree.
All right, guys.
I'm telling you, I would love to see James Harden on Philadelphia.
Well, we will leave that question just for a minute because it is indeed time for a key player alert. I'm so glad when we get to hear the siren. Check this out from Serge Ibaka on Twitter. Posted a photo video with the caption, "On my way to ...
That might be on his way
gonna
back
get to a breakdown.
Toronto to get his.
Come to
He could
Boston,
be-
baby. We need you in Boston.
He could be. Let's go to Amin Al-Hassan real quick to break down why Serge Ibaka is so valuable.
All right, guys. Once a VC, always a VC is back. The video coordinator and me couldn't stay away. Here's Serge Ibaka. He's going to be another big free agent on the market, especially for contending teams. Right here, you see his ability to set that down screen for Powell and then roll to the basket and finish strong. A lot of this is predicated because the defense has to respect Ibaka's ability to shoot from the outside, so it opens up a lot of things for him. Here we see Darius Bazley. He closes out a little too late, a little overcommit. Ibaka, one dribble, front of the rim, finishes. Again, this is because they're afraid of his jump shooting from the perimeter. And, you know, over time in Toronto, he's been an effective post scorer, obviously off of pick and rolls, finishes. But here's the big thing you get, the defense, right there. His ability to rim protect, his ability to switch and guard other perimeter players. Serge Ibaka is going to be a big get for someone on the free agent market who's trying to make a move for a championship.
So that's an idea of exactly what is on that airplane right now. Brian, can you give us any insight into what Ibaka's options are? Because Woj reported just in the last hour that the Celtics were clearing up some room and making some trades. Enes Kanter on his way to Portland.
Yeah, so you got to keep an eye on the Celtics with Gordon Hayward, whether or not they would participate in a sign and trade, likely with Indiana, or if they would just re-sign Gordon Hayward. The thing with Serge Ibaka is he will get the most money likely if he stays put in Toronto. But if he wants to move around, if he wants another place maybe to play sort of the back end of his career, and he's willing to take less money, all of a sudden a whole bunch of other teams come into play. Specifically, the Brooklyn Nets, who Kevin Durant was a teammate of his with the Oklahoma City Thunder, of course, and he's been doing some recruiting there. And then the Los Angeles Lakers, he would be a terrific fit. In both of those cases, he'd be playing for a lot less money, but you could see why he'd be interested in listening to those offers.
Welcome back to The Jump. Now joining us, our NBA insider, Brian Windhorst. Brian, I know you are really, really disappointed not to be sitting next to me for that smoke machine today. I just want to warn you that if there is a deal that is announced or at least leaked before the deadline and you're on with us, you are going to hear this. And, you know, I'm sorry about the noise. What can I tell you?
Key player alert.
You'll see our key player alert as well.
Player alert.
It's a little bit better than the year that I electrocuted Brian from the smoke machine. Just a little bit. But, you know, there you go. I want to ask you guys about Anthony Davis because he can sign that long-term extension we've been talking about with the Lakers. All roads, of course, lead to him staying in LA. He does have some choices. And as you heard Woj say in our last block, he's not expected to commit in the immediate days. Brian, can you explain a little bit about what's going on here to our audience, what his options are, and is there any point they should start getting nervous?
Well, there's some speculation out there, Rachel, that one of the reasons why he's going to delay his decision is because the Lakers have some other free agency moves to make, and he just wants to let them know he's watching. Now, I don't think there's any stress out there. He will be a Laker, but one of the guys they have to make a decision on, and it's a tough decision about how much to pay him, is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who is represented by the same agent, Rich Paul. Now, I think Caldwell-Pope is going to have some interest out there in the market. Whether or not he can get enough money out there to actually leave the Lakers is a different story. But this is somewhat reminiscent of when J.R. Smith was a free agent back in 2016 in Cleveland, represented by Rich Paul. And LeBron took his sweet time over that summer before signing. Now, having said that, LeBron did sign before J.R. Smith did. But while I think Anthony Davis has been well aware of his contracts options for months now, maybe it's just a little bit of a check game that he's playing.
Paul, if you were Anthony Davis, would you commit 2 years plus a player option, do the 1-and-1, where you're only committing for another year? We've seen that be a strain on teams, like when Kevin Durant kept doing the 1-and-1s and the 1-and-1s that just brought all these questions about whether he was really going to stay. Or do you want to keep your flexibility if you're Anthony Davis?
I think it's important for the players these days to keep their flexibility. I would line my contract up directly with LeBron's because, as you can see, he can sign for 35% of the cap after that 10 years. And so, you know, LeBron, he could probably retire in 2-3 years. Who knows? You know, but I'll line my situation.